That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 131
Goodness.
of That's a Shame. My name is Declan.
My name is not.
What is your name?
I am not at liberty to say at this juncture.
Well, it's a shame that Isaac's being so reticent, but
Oh,
if he
give
wishes,
me up, won't you?
Oh,
That's why we
no.
don't make it as a team of spies.
do
because
spies
you'd
often
be-
work in pairs?
Of course they do. That's a core spy technology,
Yeah.
the partnership. MI5's big invention for 2019 is put more spies in pairs.
Last night we were out.
Yeah,
We went to a birthday,
you can
and
hear it in our voices.
there were a lot of people who'd have been bad spies there.
Okay.
I'm thinking of two main things. One, very clumsy bunch of people.
A lot of glasses smattering.
Very
all
many.
over the
I
place. That
spent
was a mixture of
I
smash
spent
and
a lot
shattering.
of last night picking up shards of glass.
I had my torch out to help.
Yep.
Not getting involved in the glass.
No, not picking any up. Those fingers are
shining a light
insured
on the
for far
glass
too
tray.
much. But yeah, very clumsy bunch of people. Lots of tables flying.
Now, what do you think that says? Because I always despise the clumsy because I don't see it as just its own character failing. I see it as
Part of a broader callousness.
exactly. It's not even callousness. I think it's a broader endemic lack of care for your environment. And I hate, I will go on record once more as saying hate all those who engender its destructive agenda.
Okay, so you're saying that people who knock over glasses are
Worse
basically big oil.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I don't hate them, but I do always wonder, like, if you keep knocking things over, like people who accept clumsiness as part of their character, that's a major failing of a person.
Yeah, and also it's more when it happens, as it inevitably it will. If you're not getting involved in the apology / clear up process, well, what even are you?
You're saying you don't find that kind of endearing, like a sort of Zoe Deschanel character who goes through life.
Oh,
knocking
well,
things over.
sorry.
Uh-oh, it's happened again. And then just carries on like
There were
flitting
like
through
8
life.
different people who either knocked tables over or knocked glasses on the floor. Or you spoke to someone who broke a glass very cleanly at the first place we were at.
and then
just
carried
the
on.
stem. Yeah, just drinking. Then that was upside down like a sort of weapon on the table.
Something that you'd push someone's eye in.
It looked like
their head.
It looked like a particularly filthy rich like receipts pin that you just use an
A champagne flute would be a cool thing to
Yeah.
have a receipts pin as.
There were people dancing. There were people knocking things over with their
People throwing things at each other, I recall.
all
sorts.
wallets asunder.
No way, wallets.
But the other trope that I thought wouldn't make for very good spying was
It's a hell of a link. Can I just jump in and commend you on that?
we had we had a situation where we were in the basement of a bar in a kind of like rec room that looked sort of like a postmodern prison cell.
It did look a bit like that. It also looked like the default room in like a PlayStation VR experience, I thought.
Yeah.
It's like ready for you to decorate. But
Yeah.
it had the hallmarks of other users having been in there and decorated.
It's where you're going to wake up in the next Fallout game.
Yeah, I expect so.
And because it was a bar in London, it was expensive, although not as expensive as I'd expected,
less
to
than
be
we-
fair, although too expensive if you're not drinking beer.
Which costs, let me check, almost as much.
Yeah, more if you count the emotional toll.
Wow, much more. That's powerful.
So in order to avoid paying for drinks, our wonderful host,
Yep.
friend of the show, shame citizen,
Yep.
and all-round person extraordinaire, Emily, whose birthday it was.
People will have seen that on the Patreon lens.
Well, of course.
You'll have seen that half
All
dog
both
that
of
was on
them.
the wall.
She had slyly brought along 2 bottles of water But
Oh, you'll never guess what.
they'd been switched out, one each, one for vodka, one for gin, so that you could simply buy a mixer at the place,
Yeah.
bring it downstairs, and we'll drop a bit of the good stuff in there. However, somewhere along the line, they'd forgotten that gin and vodka look very the same when
Yes.
they're in identical containers.
They do.
And they hadn't been labelled.
Do you think you could identify them at a distance?
By look?
Yeah, by look, but you're allowed to sort of swill them around to sample the viscosity. Because I think I could.
I know you think you could.
I know I could.
I know that you know that you could, but that doesn't have any kind of empirical.
Well, it doesn't need it if you're this confident.
No? Oh, wow, that's good. So, in order to test which was which before porridge, you had to. Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
It sounded like a really posh guy saying porridge.
Pass me a bowl of porridge, Jeeves.
They had to be sniffed, but for some reason they couldn't be sniffed by Emily. They had to be like passed along to someone else to sniff, and there was one camera in the whole room,
And it was right there.
Every time anyone had to do any of this, their first instinct was to look at
Toast the camera.
like it was a guard whose back might
Yeah.
be turned. And so every single, and I was guilty of it myself even the first time. I was like, there it is. Oh well, I'm holding the evidence. Hello.
Whoops.
But then, once we all knew it was there, everyone still couldn't, everyone looked as guilty as possible. People are quite bad at looking innocent.
Yeah, I find that about a week.
About the week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
Do you think that you look innocent?
I think I can, yeah, because I can detach myself from the feeling
this face.
of it being like something bad.
Definitely
in the
your
first place.
fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's a handy skill.
It
that
is.
must be.
It's up there with the mind reset that I've been selling as an e-course.
feels like the two go hand in hand.
They do. Why weren't people hashtag sniff that lid?
What?
Why weren't they hashtag sniff that lidding? Sniffing the lid?
What, to see if it smells of the thing?
Yeah. That's if I were the person in their earpiece, like in a Hitman game, I'd be like, sniff that lid, kid. Sniff it good. Rather than the
I
whole
suppose
bottle.
there is the possibility. It's not an infallible system because A, might not smell very much.
It will if you give it a lid twist.
B, well, this is what I was thinking, is like, what if at some point the lids have been swapped and then they've got a hint of
fuck.
both, and you've got to like taste
Abort!
the new...
Abort!
Get out of there,
Pour
kid!
it all on the ground, kick it away. I liked that they'd done, before we arrived, apparently, they'd done a kind of Ocean's 11 ruse by putting an Incredibles 2 balloon in front of the camera. That's good. That implies that they would then be the kind of people who would be better at disguising the later treachery. But actually, very poor. And they've given up on the Incredibles 2 ruse after only one.
Well, also a
instance.
man deflated it and inhaled it all before becoming handsy.
He did, didn't he? I wouldn't say before becoming. I
Oh,
think
was it mid?
That was just
mid
I
amongst.
reckon that's just part of his personality.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
But I had a good time.
How are you
seemed-
rating it out of 10?
the evening?
Yep.
I'm going to. I would probably say that I have to account for sobriety. So
That's
I-
a straight -5.
yeah. To any score. So truly, it's not possible to get more than a 5 out of 10. But I'm going to go ahead and give the night a 7.5.
Wow, that's quite powerful.
I'm going to give it a 7.5 because I could have been drunker.
Yeah.
And there were more things that we're going to come on to later
Oh, okay.
about the evening that in some ways heightened and in some ways could have made for a better evening.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But all will be revealed.
Wow, okay.
For
well, that's
today, though, we have a feature, and not just a feature. We've got 10 fucking features for you ungrateful bastards.
not ones that we'll be doing.
No. I feel it should be stressed that last time we did this, we'd said beforehand, I think, on the show that they were, a mix of ones we could do and ones we definitely wouldn't. And I think then there were, not from you, but I had a couple that we could have actioned.
What do you
Ding
mean?
Dong Dad Advice.
Yeah, I've been doing it, just not on air.
I've not been releasing.
getting all the dad
You've
advice
got like
in the
an
world.
8 gig file on your computer.
of like creepy videos of different dads.
Just knocking on various doors.
Hello, love.
that there were some that could have been actionable. We just haven't.
What are you
yet.
thinking of?
There was
Could have
some
been
like
actionable?
random word stuff in there that
yeah,
we've
there
sort
was.
of done, and,
Yeah.
and that I think we probably will do at some point.
And you didn't bring up the cups though in any of your feature ideas.
That's because that was an inspiration. Like, that
Okay,
was a
yeah,
moment
yeah.
of pure
like a bolt from above.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. There's no accounting for that.
innovation.
Intervention, actually. Sorry to pick you up
That's
on that.
all
But
right.
that is important.
So this time we said, look, we're trying to be more serious. We're trying to approach the podcast
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a more professional
Somber.
vibe. Not somber. It's not a sad podcast now.
Morose.
Not intentionally, anyway.
okay.
Although one day maybe a documentary of the demise of
Like
two
the Fire
people.
Festival.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
So what we should do is aim not only to get them done in advance,
Yeah, which we've done.
but
I'm not writing
well,
any more now.
but to get them done in a way that's at least a few of them are probably ones that we will do.
Feasible.
Now, by advance, in advance, what we mean is we did them in the last hour.
Yeah,
that's some things will never change.
When I wake up.
And how about actionability?
Well, I'm looking through my list,
Feasibility.
and in a way, they're all very feasible, apart from maybe one of them, which probably we couldn't do in this flat. But if we wanted to pursue it, then I'm happy to look elsewhere, maybe broaden our property portfolio, like we've been meaning to do all these years. It's not that we couldn't do them; it's that we probably oughtn't do most of mine. So I have, I suppose, in that sense, gone back on the advice that I think I gave out, that they should all be actionable, insertable into the show. How about yours?
Yeah, I feel like mine are definitely doable in some sense.
In
but
the literal sense.
yeah, one of them even might be quite fun.
Okay. Well, let's not oversell them.
No, might be quite fun. I know. But yeah, again, I don't think we should do. And some I've gone for a mix of some that are like like flash fiction.
Yeah.
You've got 600 words, tell a story.
Oh, it's cool, isn't
It's
it?
very terrible. All of them.
Very cool and good. Turns out that's the best way to inspire.
Some of them are like
creatives.
that. It's maybe a 5-minute feature.
Okay.
We just in and
That's
out.
all right, though.
We do that. It takes maybe 2 hours of research, 5 minutes of content.
That's
good
the ratio we love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then others are on running, like a mini series
Okay.
that we do throughout the show. So we've got a mix.
I expect, we haven't, let's be clear, like Darren Brown, when he comes up to me, he's like, we haven't planned this in advance, have we? We haven't spoken about how we're going to
haven't mentioned.
orchestrate the feature.
No.
I'm trying to reach into your consciousness now, and I'm sensing that we are aligned on this. We're going to alternate. Yeah, we just are, aren't we?
How did you?
I just had a feeling.
That is synergy.
God, it is, isn't it? That's what it's meant all these years. I've been wondering. I've been wondering and waiting.
And it was this.
That's very powerful. Who would like to start?
Look, you are recovering more. So I think you should break through and go first.
Okay. Cool argument there, pal. I've got 5 that are... I don't know what sort of mind state I was in when I woke up. I was very hot because my bed was on for a solid 7 hours.
Yep.
And by bed was on, I mean my electric blanket, 'cause we live in a sub 15 degree flat for the most part.
How are we doing at the moment? Do you know?
Cold. The light was streaming straight into my eyeballs, which is what woke me up, through a tiny crack in the curtain that seemed to sort of laugh in the face of a reasonable place for the sun to even be able to penetrate. But the sun found its way. And there I was, lying in bed, writing these into, of course, Google Keep.
The only
So what I'm
place.
saying is I'm sorry for all of them in advance.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
Number 1.
I think we all assumed.
What if Uncle's watching?
What if Uncle's watching?
So already catchy. you'll
What
agree.
if Uncle's watching?
Exactly. There's a lot of versatility in the cadence there. What if Uncle's watching?
What if Uncle's watching?
You may not immediately grasp the genre of this feature, the elements at play.
Well, it's
so I'll
incest
explain
porn.
to you.
Quite frankly, it's
not.
the most blatant, flagrant.
What if Uncle's watching is a thought experiment in many ways.
Oh,
in some
dear.
ways, it's the thought
God,
experiment.
it's worse than incest porn. He's going
Because
to
it takes place in
fucking.
your own brain. It's a way of... You'll understand this. You've got a degree, haven't you? You did a university degree.
Yeah, I'm a doctor or something.
One of the big things they teach at university is kind of thought frameworks, analytical frameworks, if you will. So you can look at
Critical thinking.
exactly, yeah, different critical techniques. You can look at the past events that have happened.
And
in this
if you
big
haven't
world.
been to university, you won't know.
You won't understand,
understand that.
You
no.
can only learn it there for,
Yeah.
for the low price of £9,000 a day. We don't worry about all that student debt that we have, though, do we? We don't let it impact us.
We haven't mentioned loads about it, but we both had to do tax returns recently, which was a horror.
That was fun.
And that I'm still feeling the repercussions of
Oh, yeah.
to this day. But one of the questions it asked me, I don't know if it was taking the piss. I mean, I can only assume it was, or if it's just that everyone at the government has a very different idea of what a student loan is to anyone who has one. Do you think your student loan is likely to be paid off in the next 2 years? Well,
50 grand in it. Probably
50
not.
grand with what? Another 2 grand interest per day or
God,
something?
it's good, isn't it? Good that it keeps rising.
Good system.
So what we paid all that money for was to learn things like the idea of a Marxist view of history, where we can take an event and analyse it through a Marxist framework. And what I'm proposing with What If Uncle's Watching is very much the same in some ways, but obviously better in others. What If Uncle's Watching is a way of analysing the past, potentially even the future, which is where Marx kind of fell down in my opinion. And what we do is we take an event, say, think of what's one of your favourite historical things that's happened.
Oh my God.
The Vietnam War.
Agincourt?
Agincourt's a good one. And we imagine what it would be like if all of those people were at Agincourt doing whatever they did. But what if Uncle was watching? How would that presence of a modern uncle, you'll be picturing an uncle, I'll be picturing an uncle, probably a different one. How would that event be shaped, be interpreted by, be altered by the presence of Uncle? What if Uncle's watching?
So I've got a couple of questions.
That's fine. I've got a whole bunch of answers.
I bet you have. Are we going to have to do a sort of session beforehand, maybe a couple episodes where we really hammer down who an uncle is?
Interesting that you should ask that. There are two schools of thought on this in the What If Uncle's Watching community.
Yeah.
Point A is that knowing the uncle, absolutely, if you have a precise idea of which uncle, what his temperament is like, his proclivity for understanding past events, what if this event takes place in a country that uncle is not familiar with? Is that going to faze him? The more you know about him, the more specifically you can interpret some elements of what would happen if uncle were watching.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the wildcard uncle, the kind of generic uncle by consensus that we all have in our mind.
Yeah.
Dare I say the platonic form of uncle.
Yeah.
Of unclicity. It brings with it some other benefits.
No, I recognise, but that's what I was thinking. Do we have to hammer down what that is? Like, what's your idea of the...
It's best left unspoken.
The uncle, as it would be.
He's obviously a total
He's racist. Okay, good. I was just making sure.
Yeah, I think it's best... Because it's such a personal experiment, and because the effects of projecting yourself into these events through the medium of an uncle will be affecting on the most kind of fundamental and visceral level. To experience Agincourt through the eyes of uncle will change you.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's probably best left as a stone unturned. If we are to dive into Uncle's head and know all that he knows, that brings with it a whole barrel of problems and of baggage.
Do you want to just give us a quick, what would Uncle think of Agincourt?
I'd love it.
We went over and smashed the Frenchies.
He couldn't get more happy than he is.
No? Okay, what about something else? What does Uncle think of Stonewall?
It's not what he thinks, it's what if Uncle's watching. Sorry to just pick you up on that.
What if he's watching?
How is he going to watch Stonewall? Because that's several different things. There are lots of different events in the kind of Stonewall lineage.
Yeah, all of it.
What if Uncle's watching Stonewall?
Yeah, what does he think of it?
Again, I've got to pull you away from asking what he thinks of it, because we are never to second guess Uncle, and that's kind of important. In fact, vital to the game and its success is that we never try and ask what he's thinking. It's merely what if he's watching. And what if Uncle was watching the Stonewall riots, I think I'm trying to picture it now. There he is in the corner, like a sort of Where's Wally character. He's watching the violence. He's watching the overcoming of centuries, millennia of repression. And it's a thumbs up from Uncle in that
It's
one.
a thumbs
Yeah.
up. Wow.
So that's good.
That's interesting.
He supports the gay agenda.
That's good.
Yeah.
But is racist.
Well, of course.
Okay, right.
Aren't all uncles.
What about where those two circles overlap in the Venn diagram?
It's complicated.
Uncle refuses to speak.
Uncle
refuses
turns
to
his
watch.
back on certain events.
Uncle wasn't watching, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So there it is.
Like
It's simple, you're right, and that's its strength.
Marx, because you brought him up
Yeah.
as someone who had,
He
a
loved
different.
this game.
He had a different lens,
A different, worse lens, but if he'd known about Uncle, then obviously...
very
he would've-
one-dimensional lens.
Yeah. Lazy.
Everything's all the same.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's all
Workers.
governed by system.
Try uncles.
He was an uncle, was he not? Like, I mean, he had siblings who would have had
Maybe.
children.
I don't have that information to
presume.
hand.
Like, so is Marxism therefore just a subsection of your broader uncle
that's
movement?
What's so good about it is that everyone is an uncle in their own way.
Right.
Women,
Are
they're
you-
uncles.
you
We're uncles. I actually have a baby uncle, so that adds a whole
you
new
have
element.
you have an uncle who is
An
a
uncle
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
He's like 8 or something. So that's good.
You're his little bitch.
I've never met the idiot.
He's going to be your boss. He's going to
crazy,
be your
isn't
uncle baby boss. Uncle boss
Get De
baby.
Niro
That's
involved.
the sequel.
Okay.
I think we could do it.
I think we must do it. Hit me with one of yours.
This is one of my flash fiction ones. This is a quick in and out one. I don't have any examples of it. That's why
fine.
there'd be some research. But it's one of those ones that came from the name. Don't ask where the name came from.
I won't.
And it's just fish dish or niche quiche.
Oh, God.
Fish dish
Or niche
or
quiche.
niche quiche.
So it's a spot the difference.
I go like bouillabaisse.
Oh, and I'd say fish dish.
And you'd be right.
Oh.
And you'd get a point.
That's good.
And then I'd say like, oh,
Quiche Lorraine.
carrot and ham quiche. And you'd be like, who's making that?
Niche quiche. What's the niche element?
It rhymes with quiche.
Oh, okay. It's not our friend niche.
No.
It's the fact that it's a specific quiche.
Yeah.
Like a one that occupies a space that no other
that
quiche
no
would.
other quiche would, and that people aren't necessarily familiar with. It's not like a branded quiche.
That's got legs.
That's got legs.
It's got
you
big
think
legs.
So?
Big meaty legs.
I was thinking it. I thought, what would we do if this were the radio? And it would be exactly that
It would be
feature.
that. I think, if I may be so bold as to introduce another kind of element to it.
No, we're moving on. What's your next?
I'm projecting this from the uncle verse, and I see him holding up.
Subset of the altered state.
Yeah, I see him holding up images, and maybe this becomes a kind of, you hold up a flashcard, turn it around, and then turn it back very swiftly.
Right.
And it's the job then of our recall abilities to be like, now
Okay.
what did I just see? There was some potato, but that really could apply to both.
Is this an uncle who doesn't know that podcast is not a visual medium?
I'm saying this transcends the podcast.
oh,
This
right. You're saying this
ushers
is a
in
great
a bold new era
of gaming.
visual TAS. PlayStation 4 presents
It's
Fish
a new
Dish.
Jackbox game.
Why would you be voting on it? Yeah.
Because some people think it's a fish dish, some people think it's a niche quiche.
I guess so. But I think I picture it as being a feature based around singular.
I'll be honest,
experience.
it's probably more about learning because you might not know the names of some fish.
That's true, yeah.
It's unlikely that you'll get it wrong.
What's a fish you don't know the name of? For example?
Those ones with the heads that look a
Tilapia.
little bit.
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah, it's them.
Okay, good, yeah.
Now, the squid, that's not a fish, but it is fish
We don't
adjacent.
talk about it.
Okay, so it won't be featuring. There won't
We
be any
don't
kind of
talk about it.
seafood
We
vibes.
don't.
That's fair.
We don't
What
talk
about like a quiche that had oyster dust on top?
Look, I don't know why you're trying to ruin the game.
No. I'm just
Already.
accounting for eventualities.
Look,
that
we've
if
got-
enough people play it,
Look,
this
we've
stuff's
got to be
gonna
ready for a
become-
season 2.
Okay, so
gotta
you're saying
hold some
it
stuff back.
It's DLC.
Yeah.
The squid pack.
Yeah.
That's going to be big.
Fish dish, niche, quiche, or clam scam.
My number 2 is one, again, that comes from the name, but it also comes from this sense of fun that we have. There is, between us and the listeners, this real, like, rib-tickling, electricity, of adventure, of rapscallionness that just permeates everything we do. We're very much the original Dizzy Rascals. Dizzy Rascals.
That's offensive.
We are Dizzy Rascals.
to me and to him.
The concept is simple, and it's a physiological response that we'll be adding to the podcast, because when we record, we give much more thought and credence to what we say than how we say it and how we're feeling when we say it. Of course, the outliers there are when I'm in the midst of kidney stone pain. We've skipped episodes. So there I'm allowing the body that I pilot to influence the show that my mouth says with yours.
A kind of physio-technological...
Exactly. Communion, if you will. So I've been thinking, why not expand on that? Why not explore it? And one of the funniest things the body does is get very confused when you spin around a lot.
Okay.
So if you and I, were to take this table, for instance, and just run around it, I'm thinking 1-2 days worth of running.
Okay.
We can jog. It doesn't have to be a
I
sprint.
was going to say, yeah.
The end goal is not
Exercise.
exercise.
It's to confuse the inner ear.
Equilibrium confusion. And then we sit down.
That's the dizzy element.
And then we allow that kind of energy that at once is mental, but also highly corporeal, because it's all that little fluid in our ears sloshing about, very baffled by what we've just been doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And what our neighbours would have seen through the
Or
windows
heard from
where
the
they're
floor
watching
below.
us scamper about a table for up to 48 hours. If we were to harness that energy and bring it to the pod space, how would the show be different? I'm here to say it would be improved.
Okay.
In a big way.
So it's not so much a feature.
It is. It's a show length feature where all the work is done before.
And how often do we have to do it?
Every episode, of course.
By show length, you meant as long as the show goes on.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So don't you think that kind of naturally will be Rascals after that much spinning?
Are you trying to justify the name before you've even said it?
I've said it's called Dizzy Rascals.
Oh, is it called Dizzy
That's
Rascals?
the name of the feature.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, it's a good name. Accurate pop culture reference. We can get Dizzy on the show.
Not for now.
Pop culture reference circa 2009.
Yeah.
He really fell off the map, didn't he, old Dizzy?
Bless him. I hope he's well.
I do as well, because he's done some great Bonkers. That's
That's
tune.
such a good tune.
Big tune.
I think that it would bring a different energy to it.
Kind of
But
a near vomiting.
Weirdly, though it was your idea,
Uh-huh.
it feels like the sort of thing that you specifically would give up on after maybe 5 minutes of spinning.
Of course, it's important in any experimentation to have a control to measure against. So I won't be. I didn't make that clear.
me.
I won't be doing the.
Oh, so
the
when you say
spinning.
Dizzy Rascals,
I meant you each time you do.
I'm going to be several different, even dizzier
You'll be
rascals.
instantiating the rascal of the week. If you
Right.
will.
I don't get very dizzy,
Well, that's only a
so
matter
the
of.
podcast will be exactly the same.
That's a matter of not trying hard enough.
Apart from you saying, "And how's the inner ear going?"
Sloshing about, are we? Okay.
I think it's. I wouldn't say it's got legs.
Well, it won't have after all the spinning.
It's got that sort of slug juice.
Okay, so
to
it's
sort of-
crawling into our lives.
Yeah, and I think that with a little bit of improvement, a bit of evolution.
Oh, improvement. That's a
yeah,
bit.
well, evolution.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, yeah.
So what you're saying is we get a roundabout
Adaptation.
involved.
Yeah,
We could experiment with the different forms of dizziness, because there's a dizziness that comes from just walking in a circle. There's a dizziness of spinning on the spot.
there's the dizziness of height. I could just dangle you off.
Yeah, you could be
balcony.
dangled off a balcony. I
could dangle you by the leg.
Vertiginous dizzitude. That would be good. Why do you look so?
Vertiginous dizzitude.
That's my Harry Potter
It
name.
sounds like a Willy Wonka bar.
It doesn't. It sounds like someone who'd write one of their school books in first year.
Oh no.
They've all got great names. I'm rereading Harry Potter. I should just say this on the podcast. It's very good. You think
It's
what you
annoying
will
how
of
good it
JK.
is.
You have to forgive her. She's like that old uncle, now that I think of it, who did something great. Maybe he was very fun when you were about 10, and then you grew up and realised that the reason he's fun is he's a barely functional alcoholic. But you have to kind of forgive her for her current state of, evangelising some questionable politics, because those
Very.
books are very good.
They are. But I wish she'd leave them be be
No,
good.
no. It's very important. I've gone into this reread, the first time I've reread them in my life, only because I wanted to know, much like the Uncle Factor, how that changes the past.
Right.
How reading the books would be through the lens of knowledge that I now have about a wizard shit on the floor.
Yep.
And it's changed everything. You can't respect a single one of them. Dumbledore, can't look at him.
Okay, I've got one.
Uh-huh.
Now, this one is one of my on-running features.
Okay.
And it's one that involves a little dive back into
Ooh, okay, not a
last
physical
night's debauchery.
Ah, okay.
And the feature is called Yeah or No.
Okay.
Okay.
Simple name, I like
Yeah.
it. That's branding. That's on brand.
Exactly.
On trend.
The yeah has an exclamation mark.
That's good. I did want to check.
Because-
we can't hashtag an exclamation mark, but
That's all right.
We'll
we can
sort
work around that. We can write exclamation mark.
that would be really cool.
go.
That's postmodern.
Exactly.
Maybe
Postmodern.
postmodern, yeah.
What it is we go round to all the terrible bars
Ah.
and clubs
Yeah.
in and around like Camden, King's Cross, that
Shoreditch.
sort
Can I
of.
chuck
Yeah,
Shoreditch
Shoreditch in there.
Brixton.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
We go up to the DJ and we ask him,
Oh.
will
I
he
see.
play Yeah by Usher?
the greatest song humans ever did?
And if he does, we buy him a drink and we have a big dance.
Yeah,
and we try and ignore that weird bell that rings in it all
I
the
try my
time.
best. Yeah.
If he doesn't, because he's a mega cuck,
Kill him on the spot.
we bring him on the show and we interview him and we try and find out what childhood
wrong.
trauma led to him refusing to play. Now, why might this be a relevant feature to
I
our
have
lives
no
right
idea.
now?
I'm really
Isaac? Are you
curious
sure?
to find out. What could
Last night, I'm assuming you
Yeah, I
do
remember.
remember.
Paint a
thank God.
picture
Yeah.
with your words. Try and
Last
bring me
night,
back.
picture the scene. We have come from this basement bar.
Okay, I need more adjectives.
We've moved surreptitiously.
I didn't say that. But
That's an advert. Sorry. In
that's
an
funny
Uber.
you should do that because I spent a whole hour trying to teach a kid what surreptitious meant.
Really?
Very, very hard to convey. Apparently.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get it.
No.
I kept asking him to use it in a sentence, and he was like,
I don't understand the word
he said,
surreptitious.
the cat looked at me. I felt surreptitiously. So what do you think it means?
We moved in Ubers. Now, Uber,
Big fan.
big fan.
Yeah.
Fan rhymes with van. Via van.
Oh, God,
now, that stands for viable alternative to Uber.
I assume that is.
We're going to take another quick adjunct here to talk about Via van.
Your first experience.
We had to go to Paddington, which is a bit awkward from where we are, but not too awkward. We get a train to Warren Street, and then we get the 18 bus all the way along, and it takes us and drops us off.
It was down one long
outside.
road, wasn't it? Like
Yep.
Regent's Park Road or something.
Yeah.
I think that road goes into Finchley if you go long
Yeah,
enough.
exactly. It was a turn off of the A5, which
Crazy.
basically takes us all the way home.
Have that, guys. That's some content right there. Don't say we don't teach you anything.
Fuck, that was one of my features. The A to Z
Dangerously
of audio.
close to one of mine.
And Isaac,
Yeah.
he's too good for the bus.
I'm an innovator.
And he had some credit
Yeah.
for an app called ViaVan.
Yeah.
Now, beforehand, I was worried that this was some sort of system where I'd be kind of like hood over the head, chucked in the back of a van and dropped off where I was.
It doesn't sound nice, does it?
Actually, that would have been better.
Yeah. I think they need to work on just the concept because via van
Yeah.
sounds like van has a very negative kind of Yorkshire
Very,
Moors,
Free
Sutcliffe-esque
candy.
vibe. And via van, yeah, it just sounds like functional and violent.
It sounds like a pessary as well.
Okay. So Viavan, I'd used it before. I had £20 of credit that was given to me by a friend of ours for whatever reason. I think it was like a new
They don't
startup
like
back
you.
then. And I thought, let's try it out. And so I tried it out with friend of the show and of us, Matthew, just to go to this like restaurant. And I had a weird experience with it then because I was at the restaurant and I booked it. You know how Uber works. You book
great.
it, it arrives.
It turns
eventually.
up. There it is.
And the thing, I got a notification that was like, your driver has arrived. I was like, well, the car's not here, so that's bizarre. And then I noticed that maybe 800 meters down the street, like quite a distance, was a car pulling up with its like lights flashing. And so I checked the map and it was like, yeah, it's over there. So it's like, okay, he must have, maybe there was an error. Like
It happens.
The
It happens.
geolocation can be all over the gaff, especially because I'm on 3 and the network is a bit iffy.
It's dodgy. It's dodgy.
Yeah, so I was like, that's fine, no worries. I'm not going to like dock his rating or anything. We were going to Leicester Square, London's Leicester Square, the heart of entertainment, where I'll be going in just about an hour as well, to the cinema. And Leicester Square is kind of hard to drive to because it's pedestrianised and it's
Yeah.
like central London. So I didn't expect to be like dropped outside the cinema, but I also didn't expect to be dropped quite as far away from
Covent
it
Garden.
as I was. And so we got out. He just sort of stopped in the middle of a very busy street. It was Charing Cross Road, and just stopped along it, like not at anything.
No.
It was weird. It's bizarrely like lacking in
It's becoming a thing.
locational context. Like
Yeah.
if you're dropped at the corner of somewhere, fair enough. If you're dropped at the lights or at a zebra crossing, if they're like, oh, can you just get out here? That would be good.
It's like they're using maps from 200 years ago.
Yeah, like this once was the great meeting point of gentlemen. Enjoy. So he just stopped in the middle of traffic and not pulled over to the side or anything. It was like,
No.
here you go. It was like, okay, thanks, mate. And got out and then walked probably about half as far as we were anyway, away from it. So I thought I chalked it up to a bad driver, a bad experience. And I thought we'd try it again last night. And it went very well. So anyway.
We stood in the snow for 8 minutes at least.
No,
Probably
we
closer
didn't
to 10.
stand. We
Well,
wandered around trying to find out where the fuck it was
Desperately
pointing
trying
us
to find, because its map again had no relation to any sort of physical reality. We sort of by chance managed to figure out that or process of elimination that it
Yeah.
wasn't any of the other roads, so it must need
It literally
be this
came down
one.
to it being the girthiest road on the map,
Yeah.
and therefore the biggest.
It was further than the bus stop that we would have used.
a huge distance.
Yep.
Yeah.
The bus came and went. We still waited. A car turned up
Yep.
with someone already in it. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the driver. We climbed in. Now,
I gave you the front seat
yep.
because I knew you'd want to chat to him.
Well, all I said, I made a throwaway comment, you see, listeners, about how when it snows, everyone on the road loses their minds.
Was it triggered by anything? Sorry to use the word triggered because I don't want to paint you as a kind of snowflake.
No, well, of course not.
Was it brought into your cuck mind by anything that happened on the road?
Yeah,
in
like
particular?
there were just people swerving in and out of bus lanes and a Deliveroo driver trying to
Going
like
mental.
fuck up an actual bus. Like,
London
it was
is
madness.
ill-equipped for snow.
It is actually a lawless place where there's even the faintest bit
One
of snow.
flake.
And the driver agreed and then went on a 10-minute piece
Yeah,
of therapy where he tried to tell me that if you get angry 100 times in the year, that's really bad for your health.
It's like you're learning to be
And
angry.
I just had nothing to say. I just
I
sort of
noticed.
nodded, and I was like, yes.
I was just
and I could
giggling in
feel
the back
you.
seat.
I could feel you smiling and grinning at the window. And then Isaac kept sending me linking me to the app on every single platform possible.
I was trying to get you some credit. so
I'm
you
not
could
doing
enjoy
it.
like
I'm
I
never
did.
getting in their fucking vans again. So Isaac had told me about how they drop off and pick you up at just slightly too far from.
I think they're trying to be a bus, aren't they? They're trying to be a car bus.
Well, yeah, but it's not as good as the bus.
No, much worse.
Or the car.
Yeah, well, you're right. It's the worst of both worlds.
And I could see there was like a little orange dot on the map that was clearly kind of vaguely in the area of
Yeah.
where we were going. And we were getting closer and closer to it. And like there was no route planned
No.
afterwards.
And also the road,
So I don't know where the other girl was going.
she was definitely
They're
killed,
a prisoner.
I'm afraid.
I did feel a bit bad, but also I was too
I was
angry at
too
our own
busy
situation.
trying to safely exit. But
So-
I'd noticed as well that the road we were going down had been getting increasingly less like commercial and
Yeah.
more just kind of an industrial road.
Yeah.
And we were edging ever closer to this giant building site at the end. And I was like, I'm so sure we're getting out there.
Yeah, so he took the slip road off the main road, and we were maybe 20 yards from this little orange circle, and he was like, someone's leaving, someone's getting out here.
Yeah.
And I sort of turned back, I was like, is this us then, Isaac? And we were like, yeah, I think this one's us. And he reached on the map, the orange dot, slammed the brakes on and stopped.
Emergency stop.
Now, this was a 4-lane slip road leading down to a roundabout. One side, 3 lanes of traffic.
Yeah.
The other side are building, no pavement.
No.
Just like building works,
Barely
a
room
big
to open the
metal
door.
fence. Yep. I said, well, it's not exactly here.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's just, this is where it
is
says
where
it
the
doesn't
dot
say
is.
anything. And I was like, but could you take us maybe to some pavement, please? And he went, oh, okay, I'll drive a bit further down. He drove 6 yards further down the road and stopped in an
Somehow
even more
dangerous,
inconvenient
because it was now
place.
in a kind of blind spot where
Yeah.
you couldn't see the traffic as
Coming
it was rounding a corner
by
at
the
some
roadworks.
speed.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to cry. I was just laughing. Like, I just couldn't. I was so angry.
We've
And
been so cold and damp, wandering around with cold chips.
cold chips with a poor girl who is definitely
100%
kidnapped.
Today's news.
Yeah. And Isaac had to wait for the guy to tell him what he was like, not now.
I
not yet.
outsourced the whole thing because I was like, I could either get annoyed about this and deal with trying to open this car door into oncoming traffic, 3 lanes of it, or I can just make it his job. So I made it his job to be in charge of like scouting for cars. Being like, okay, go. No. Oh, no.
Hang on. Whoa, nearly.
Okay, I think after this one, ready and go. And like sped out as quickly as I could. The poor girl was like watching,
I know.
presumably imagining what her exit was going to constitute. Maybe
Thankfully,
just
she
being
never.
flung off a
Thankfully, she
bridge.
definitely never did. Still in that car. And we just had to walk back against the oncoming traffic to the nearest bit that wasn't a road,
quite
which
a
happened
distance.
to be a bog, like a literal
swamp.
muddy swamp.
It was London's only swamp.
I was sliding all over the place. Like it
I was
was.
just cackling.
I took a picture of it for the lens.
Did anything come out in that picture?
Yeah, well,
just, a
just
muddy
about.
hell?
And that was it. Like, that was where we got dropped. And we then had to find our way from there to
Paid
the...
£7.80 for the privilege.
It
of
was, at one point in the evening, Isaac stormed out of the venue very, very, like, swiftly. And I was like, like, maybe he's gotten a sort of like a bad news or something, like a phone call. And he came back and it turned out that it was because he'd got the receipt through and it said that it was £7 something. And he thought they dared not to take off the £4 credit he'd had. I was like, don't you
for that fucking journey.
Oh dear. So anyway,
So how does this relate to the feature?
basically that was how we got to the first bar, but we got Ubers much safer and much friendlier to the second bar.
They've got this bold strategy, Uber, of pick you up where you are, take
Drop
you
you
where
off
you want to
where
go. It's really worked for them.
Yeah.
Might be something for Viavan to investigate.
And it was a bar that I had been to once before with Emily, and I didn't like. There was a very
I
poor
hated it.
clientele.
Horrid bouncers that were like too into their job.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually that's unfair. Only the ones at the door.
Yeah.
They had like too much. They were frisking everyone on the way in.
We managed to somehow wrangle for ourselves a seat, like a seated area
Upstairs.
upstairs, where we spent most of the night.
Yeah.
But it came to a point, as all nights must if we're out like that, in a place where there's music, that we thought, let's go and have a quick dance.
Why not?
Relive the glory days.
Yeah.
So down the stairs we went, into the main dance floor area. It was Justin Timberlake's song. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That we were dancing to, having a great time. We look at one another, we nod,
It's time.
it's time.
Little
Isaac
bell rings.
heads up to the DJ
Yeah.
to request Yeah by Usher.
Some context, I get on great with DJs. I'm a very affable drunk for the most part, I think. I'm sort of engaged.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll make a conversation with the DJ.
Yeah.
And they
sometimes
normally-
too much, but it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're used to that. They're used to drunks. I've never had a request denied previously, flat out. And yet,
A perfect record sullied.
by this mega prick.
He looked like a cunt, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't think we were going to get on with him, but you know, you've got to give people a chance.
Yeah, exactly. We're all about that here.
I
That's
assume
a shame.
people think that about me all the time. And they're right. I fucking hate you all. If you're a member of Joe Public.
Oh.
No. So Isaac went up
happened next?
and he was talking to the DJ for the whole of the next song, which I do remember was Temperature by Sean Paul.
Nice.
Because it's hard to dance to by yourself. That is what I realised. Especially, may we reiterate, sober.
Yes.
So Isaac was up there for a while, came back, I'd seen him flashing his phone at the guy for a bit. I assumed not in a sort of ostentatious display.
Look
of wealth.
what I've got. iPhone 7. Pretty on trend.
He came back, and I asked how it went. He said no to Yeah by Usher. At the time, you didn't tell me that he said he'd already played it.
Yeah.
Apparently he said he had.
He said he'd played it, but we'd been there for like an hour or something. And he
at least. Probably 2, I think, at that point.
I fucking hate that excuse as well that DJs give.
I know.
Like, it's only for their benefit that they won't play something twice. No one is remembering. No one's keeping a fucking record.
Absolutely no one.
A DJ in a club is the most useless person in existence.
Yep.
Apart from PBH, the
course.
York
And
DJ
Mad
extraordinaire,
Max.
and Mad Max, they are some of the worst people alive who overestimate their abilities, relevance, importance, their cachet. There is so little skill in what. I'm not saying all DJs, hashtag not all DJs, but for what you're doing in that kind of club, like you're not playing to an audience that has any discerning taste for the music.
No. Well,
you're literally queuing songs and doing fuck
and I
all.
suppose there probably was a point in time before all the tech where there was more skill involved, where it was about your own personal collection.
Yeah, exactly.
And your own particular tastes and moving there. Irrelevant.
No, there's
Absolutely
a DJ. There's a guy who comes to Crisis at Christmas.
Yeah.
Who is an ex-homeless man who had been involved in like pirate radio back in the 80s, and he brings as his like luggage to the event a giant collection of records. Like each one, he could tell you the story about like when he got it, what made that record
smells
special.
like.
Yeah, which shop he bought it from, the cultural relevance of that artist at that time, and he does a set at the end of Crisis in this centre that I was in, and it's great. Like everyone appreciates the fact that he's put so much thought into
personal.
it. Very could not be further away from sitting in a fucking sound booth
on Spotify,
queuing songs on Spotify. Like, don't even start. No. Fucking rates himself.
So Isaac flashed, it turns out, his list, the list, as it shall be known,
been in existence for
curated
7-ish years now.
Maybe a dozen songs on it.
Yeah, I'd say about 10.
Yeah,
very specifically chosen to up the vibe. It's my way of helping out. When the DJ is lacking.
Yeah. So he flashed in the list. Said, "Will you play anything from this?" And the DJ had said,
"Probably not." He said.
Did he say probably not then? Because you said to me that he went like, "Oh yeah."
Yes, he did. The first time he fobbed me off.
Yeah.
The second time he.
So I think we got halfway through the next song. Isaac hadn't heard anything he wanted. No. So he went back.
I'd been sitting on the floor waiting with bated breath.
So he went back and was just sort of stood. I thought you were on your phone for a bit. Like you seemed like you had it to your ear, like you were on a call. But it could have just been the weird angle you were standing at. DJ didn't really seem to be talking to him.
No.
But Isaac was there nonetheless. And then I was just sort of like flicking through my phone. I didn't know the song. I wasn't going to be dancing by myself again. I'd already thoroughly debased myself to Sean Paul's
The entire rest of the community had moved 2 feet further away from Declan.
And then suddenly there was a bang next to me. And I looked up and a swing door from the little DJ booth was crashing open. And past me was storming this DJ.
I was so sure he was coming to try and fight me. I was so excited. I was honestly like gleeful.
Anyway, he stormed past and he went up to the bouncer. And I asked Isaac, or tried to, I was like, what on earth has gone on? Like, all I did was look at a funny picture of Mike Gapes. And next thing,
we've got to fight a DJ and a bouncer.
So the DJ shouted at the bouncer for a second.
He was rude to that bouncer.
Well, yeah, and then stormed back. I think he tried to lift his arm up over you to walk past because he was quite tall.
Yeah.
But you sort of tried to high five as he went past, and he had to like yank his elbow away. And he went into the booth. Anyway, the bouncer came over. He was very, very lovely.
He was really
Isaac
nice.
did.
I'd already spoken to him.
Isaac did his sort of like arm round, take him away.
Can we just reiterate this great bit of body language advice that I'll give?
The looking into the...
You get on their physical side, ladies and gents, and you gesture to a far-flung future where both of you exist in harmony, and they visualise it. You can see them glazing over, and that's not because they're wanting to leave the situation.
No.
It's because they're enjoying it so much. and enjoy being harmonious with the person that you're diffusing.
So, I was like,
But yeah,
I was
he was trying to get us
Isaac
thrown out.
does this with bouncers all the time, so I was like, okay, that's fine. He's sorted. I sort of glanced back at my phone and I looked up at the DJ, and he was just like he was like bobbing along, doing his little
But
head
too
bob,
much, like
way too much.
trying to be like show that he was just unaffected. Like
And he
he's really-
looked up at me, and he did a sort of like smile, and he was like, yeah, like,
yeah, I'm cool.
And I just shook my head, like not even much. I just shook
Oh, I
my
wish I'd
head,
seen that.
and he just became incensed.
He reminded me so much of the guy that we made punch the wall.
Yeah, that's what I said in the cab on the way home. Like the guy who punched the column in
Have we told
D-Bar.
that story on the podcast?
Probably not.
I mean, there's not much to tell, but
All we did
guy-
was knock down our pints the second the bar closed, and he came around a second time to ask us to drink up, and we were like, sure,
yeah. I was like,
any minute now. He turned around and punched a column that was holding up the bar and walked
God.
away. It was a singularly pure moment. Anyway,
very nice.
He was very much like that. And this DJ looked up and he was like, do you know him? Pointing over at you.
At lovely Isaac.
And I went, yeah. And he went, he's a fucking prick. I said, what was the problem? I was
I love that you're entirely
I was
sober.
and I was deliberately standing really like as far away from
So
him
you'd
as
have
I'd
to-
always been. So he had to like shout, and I had to shout, and he had to keep asking me to say it again. So I was like, "What was the problem?" He's up here, and then listeners, you can't see, so you will know the little puppet hand motion. He's up here giving it the big un.
What about?
Well, I don't know.
I do know.
and he sort of like was just giving it the big un and all that, and I just
It's not a great argument.
and I just yelled over to him, well, it was very brave of you to get
run to
the
the
bouncer.
I didn't know you did that. That's so funny.
And he went fucking mad. Fuck off, mate. You have too much to fucking drink, have you? I was like, well, if you can read, you'll see that this is alcohol free. Too much of the fucking blow. I was like, all right, fair enough if you like. Like, whatever. No, you're a fucking prick, mate. Doing the like wanker motion, which is like the surest sign of a wanker themselves.
Of having lost your dignity.
Fucking wanker. And he was like then trying to shout at the bouncer to come and talk to me as well. He's like, "You're a fucking fuck off! Like you two, you're both cunts." He went, and I just yelled, "Well, you tell that to your empty dance floor, man." Which was vacant.
I love what's good about this situation is that he will have experienced this sort of thing before.
Well, yeah.
And because he's got that horrible personality that he has to drag through life. But he won't likely have experienced someone who's naturally quite acerbic, but also stone cold sober. Like he would not have been prepared.
No.
'Cause it's so easy to like argue with an enraged drunk person.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to do it. You just sort of like look at them wrong and let them rage. But when you're in that state of just like totally prepared, you're like ready to go on Newsnight, and he's trying to start.
Bring it on.
So fucking good.
So, like, the bouncer came over. At this point, you'd already spoken to him. You'd kind of disappeared. I don't know to where.
No, me neither.
You just sort of vanished a bit.
Yeah.
And then, as you'll want to do. And the bouncer came over, and he was like, "What's going on? What's the problem?" And I said, "He's very angry, and he's accused me of being both drunk and a cokehead, of which I'm neither." And he was like,
Resolutely.
and I was like, "He's very much a prick." So yeah, that's it basically. And the bouncer just sort of went, "Yes." He was like, "If you could just go sit down for a minute, like just
Yeah, the
please."
bouncer's really
he was
nice.
he was just like, "Please, like don't." Because I don't want trouble with him because he's just such a everyone there seemingly knows.
He'd apologised to me for the DJ's behaviour as well. All I'd done, just to fill in that blank, is asked him why he wasn't going to play it. He got irrationally kind of like, I don't know, he felt like a real ownership, like he was authoring this experience for everyone that was, let's be honest, poor because of his choice, because of his existence. And all I'd done then was like switch immediately into kind of just being a passive aggressive presence, just upsetting
Just
him.
there.
What me and my friend Chris used to call getting on top of someone.
Yeah.
Where you just sort of psychologically exert your force of will over theirs. So I was just like giving him some advice, like, oh, don't you want to hit that one? That one's flashing, mate. Get a press on it. And for some reason,
And that's grounds
he
for
didn't
disbarment.
like it.
Yeah. So the little staircase we had to go up in order to get to where we were sat, kind of ran perpendicular to where he was doing his little DJing.
DJing.
And as I was just walking up the set, like he was clearly so even more outraged by the fact that the bouncer didn't care.
Yeah.
Like he'd made this big scene and this big fuss about it.
Yeah, because you didn't over explain or you didn't hyperbolize him storming out.
No,
Like, it was the definition of storming.
Yeah.
He like slammed his little booth. Very
And
sad.
and so he was so outraged clearly by the fact that we just didn't nothing happened. The bouncer didn't care.
the most
We were on better
impotent.
terms with the bouncer than he was. And so I was walking up the stairs and he just like in a final act of defiance did the wanker sign again. I was like, you're both pricks. You weren't even there. So bold statement.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Tell your pal.
So I just blew him a kiss.
That's so funny.
At which he like foamed. And then I didn't go and speak to him again because I didn't want to waste my time. You were very, very keen
Yeah.
to go and wind him up again.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember if I did.
no, I
you
managed to
step
convince you
in?
not. No, what you did was you got you went up and you said, "Let me buy you a drink."
Uh-huh.
And you went to the bar, which was shut, but you said it was for the DJ, and you were like, and the person behind the bar went, "Oh yeah."
Oh, really?
He seemingly has seen this before.
Uh-huh.
And you took the drink to him and gave it to him. And then you finished your drink and you were like, I'm going to get him a glass of water. And I was like, I think we can leave.
We're back. Sorry, there was a break. My phone started ringing. So
Yeah,
all in all,
I thought we'd leave it where it was.
Uh-huh.
The kind of final act of defiance on our part was that right in front of him, like kissing someone's ex,
Yeah.
like we both on our way out shook hands with and had a really nice laugh with the bouncer he tried to set on us, and then
so-
just walked out free men,
bless him.
free to go back, which we won't.
Nice. Never again.
So yeah or no,
This is a long explanation of that feature.
yeah or no is basically just a chance to get a face to face with him.
Yeah.
You know-
Sit him down, find out where it went wrong.
Yeah.
What did Usher ever do to him?
And there must be other DJs out there like that.
It saddens me to know that that's a fact. Yeah.
So it would be good to see if there's any kind of. Basically, it's a study.
Yeah.
A study more than a feature.
Weird that hasn't already been funded by any research bodies.
Look, sometimes it's just a matter of the right person coming along at the right time.
And this is both of those things. My next feature, I'm going to we're getting to an hour, so I'm going to blaze through these. It's simple, it's edutainment, which has always been our remit. We have those, what do they call them in the BBC? Reithian values.
Right.
He had all that when he set up the BBC. Reith, what's his first name?
Don't
John,
know.
George,
Sure.
Bob. Set down a charter of what the values should be of a public broadcast
And they
institution.
stick to those to this day.
Yeah, it's just shamelessly shill for the Tory party where possible. No, they stray from them all the time, actually. It's quite sad. But they're all about, his vision for the BBC was that it would marry entertainment, education, information, and help to create a well-informed populace who would be the better for its service.
And that's what we've got, really.
Absolutely. Let's learn Latin.
Let's
my
learn
feature.
Latin.
We pick, I've written, a Latin verb, so I'm thinking one a week, and conjugate the fuck out of it for all to hear and enjoy.
Wow.
So it's just our way of giving back in the form of a dead language that, still has value. You can
But is still used by very clever.
very clever. Yeah,
people.
they'll put it in italics so you know they know,
Yeah.
and it's really helpful and good.
And they say things like post hoc ergo proctor hoc.
Really cool,
And you're like,
yeah.
fuck,
Wow,
I lost
you've
the
won.
argument.
Very good. So yeah, it will just help our listeners to get a handle on some of these great big fallacies that they're probably committing every day without even knowing. Reductio ad absurdum, not Harry Potter spell. It's just are failing in your argument.
That's
no
incredible.
doubt.
That's well done.
So yeah, it's just a way of us giving back.
And are we going to do anything with the verb that we conjugate? Like, do we then have to
We'll
do
be
it?
putting it in a
enact
sentence.
Well, obviously.
And if the verb, if
it's doable.
if it's actable on air, then
we're not going to
absolutely.
enact the verb to genocide.
No, that's
But we
a
will
firm no.
conjugate it.
Oh,
and you can't stop
you'll
us
learn
because that's
how to
free
conjugate
speech.
it in a big way.
That's free speech.
Absolutely,
You won't
it is.
impinge on our rights to do that.
You won't. How about you? What's your number 3?
My next one is called What Can't Google Do?
Oh, okay. I can see the inspiration.
The inspiration is I hate Google and everything she stands for.
I love Google.
No, Google. Don't.
Oh God, sorry, Google.
See, we have 2 Google homes in the house.
We live in a Google home. I would
Oh,
say,
God.
because we've got Chromecast, 3 of
Yeah.
them, 2 Google little speakers, smart light that turns on and off when we ask
Chrome's
it.
my default browser.
Yeah, same.
Well,
no
there you
way.
go, you see.
We've got so much in common.
So we've got Google, and you can ask Google to do all sorts of things.
Yep.
It can translate languages.
Yep.
It
Live
can,
translation they added.
It can exchange currencies.
Yep. It can turn on our TV. It
can turn on the
play
light.
YouTube videos. It can make my bed warm.
But it can't play any of the songs I like.
Specifically.
Specifically, certain ones that, for no reason, it finds more difficult.
It is interesting that it doesn't know the folly of wisdom.
Yeah, it can't play the folly of wisdom.
Try it on your Google if you've got
Yeah,
one.
please.
tass@shame.city. Let us know if your Google will play the folly of wisdom.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that the song is like written in all lowercase, like the title.
I don't think that
But I
should
just don't know that should be a problem.
Yeah.
It can't differentiate between the letter O and the letter I. That's another fun one that
So when you're
it
spelling
refuses to do.
a song title.
Yep, it just can't do that.
So-
and I just think that it's such a niche set of things Google can't do.
Because it can do a lot.
Yeah, it can do loads, and it can do lots of very
Unexpected,
cool things, and
very
it can
complex.
understand different voices.
Yeah.
But it can't understand when they're saying the folly of wisdom. And really, I just need more people to know that this is a continuation of technology continuing to fight back against me in ways.
Waging a personal war.
Yeah, a real resistance movement.
Yeah.
And it's not just it can't do some things. It's you specifically
You
are
are
being
not allowed.
targeted by the world's biggest corporation.
It'd be good as well because we could turn it into a kind of Google feedback session.
Hmm.
So if we each week highlight something Google can't do, we can then give that to, I call them up, 24/7 support, very nice.
By 2025, I'll be able to remotely listen to the folly of wisdom.
That's very nice. Let's do it. Don't Wake Wiggler.
No!
An
Are we
audio
just playing the
version
game?
of the Mario Party minigame where Mario must massage the hideous giant snake until it is ready to scream at him and do violence. Need I say any more?
No, I think that's it.
It's in.
Just, you don't have to tell the listeners, but give me like a nod if you know how we would do that in an audio way.
Absolutely. I
Okay,
do.
good.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
very confident. I won't go into it because I don't want to patronise.
Well, no, obviously, I'm sure the listeners.
Yeah.
would
Never
know.
apologise, never explain.
No. My next one. Now, don't get sidetracked
Okay, I'll try.
by its blatant offensiveness.
Oh, no.
Because the whole point is we're doing
satire?
We're doing a satire. We're doing a subversion. My feature is called "How's the Empire doing?"
Oh, the old empire
How's-
upon which the sun never sets.
How's the Empire doing?
So it's a check-in.
Yeah, so what I thought is each week we pick one country
Yep.
that we,
Former.
brought up from its knees.
We gave them railways.
Yep, we civilised them
That's what I've read in
Yeah.
most Rudyard Kipling books.
in most British newspapers.
Most Churchill speeches.
And we just check in because, they've been on their own, most of them, for about 60 years at least now.
Quite sad, isn't it?
And
And you don't hear anything about, say, India these days. Like,
No, but
I imagine
what's
they've
it doing?
dwindled
They've
into
probably-
dust.
They've probably sold all those railways.
Yeah, didn't make of them
So
much.
what we do is we go around and we just sort of do a bit of research. Maybe we try and get someone from that country. I don't know if they've got the technology
envoy.
to like.
No,
come on
because
the show.
remember, Snapchat were trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
expand and said that you can't do Snapchat in India.
too poor.
Because they're too poor.
They're too
yeah.
poor.
So that is sad, of course, but we'll maybe
we-
if
who are we
enough
to disagree?
patrons got involved, we can fly someone over.
Yeah,
and
maybe
give
that'd
them
be good.
a trip of the lifetime.
but of us coming to them.
Well, either way,
Yeah.
it would be crazy.
Okay. And we just see how they're doing, make sure they're all right, make sure they haven't like wrecked the house or anything while we've been away, and just maybe
offer
to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
If they want,
yeah,
like it's up to them.
yeah. But sometimes, like a parent, you have to make that decision for someone.
Well, yeah, because when Britain first pillaged the planet, it was consensual.
Well, yeah, it was
but-
consensual
but
rape,
only in the
pillage and
sense
plunder.
that you can't trust the word of someone who doesn't know what's going
When
on.
they say no and they're screaming,
When
and
they're
you're,
like,
killing
don't
their
do all this
children,
violence to us
Yeah.
and steal all our resources.
and they're
what
like,
they
don't
really
starve
mean,
us.
Yeah, what they mean is give us a
like,
railway.
and you have to be like, yeah, it's bad now.
Yeah.
it's bad now. Millions will die. No one's questioning.
And
that.
then not only will millions die, but we'll kind of, as a country, celebrate what was.
Well,
and
yeah.
look back at
But
as it was a glory day.
But you
for
will
the country.
too, because you'll have railway.
Yeah.
And like famously, we have a really good train system here.
Might as well export it.
So
Yeah.
may as well sell it elsewhere.
That's a really good feature.
yeah. And I
international.
just thought that maybe if even one racist cunt listens to it and realizes that they're all much better off without us, we'll have done our fucking job.
We'll have done our bit.
Yeah.
My last feature is one that came from the name. I was mentally revisiting the excellent Adult Swim video. You'll remember, of course, airing for the first time at just 3 a.m. with no explanation.
Very normal time.
Too many cooks. Of
A
course.
fantastic one.
Very, very good. One of the great bits of art that there is in the world,
Ever.
the big world,
The whole world.
the whole world. What I thought was in that kind of sitcom vein, a kind of sitcom parody, a feature called "And Baby Makes 9."
Right?
Now, I was stuck there because it doesn't lend itself obviously to any podcast material.
Anything we could feasibly do.
Yeah, and then I thought, why
'Cause
restrict
we'd
ourselves?
already need another 6.
Exactly. So that's why what I've come up with is it doesn't have to be right now.
Ditch the podcast
We
entirely.
adopt 7 children and make of them a righteous army.
Okay.
Spreading
In
the
name
good
of-
news. Yeah, the podcast.
Oh, I see. Right.
So we don't have to be doing it all the time because obviously
It's a
with
sort
7
of
kids.
child labour, but
No, they'll love
like a labour of love.
because they say if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And these 7 kids are mad for evangelizing
I'm
cats.
not getting enough. They're printing stickers.
It's really
and-
good. Yeah, we can outsource a great deal to them.
And we can there'd be like a little bot army on Twitter, just sharing everything, getting it out there, getting the good word. We can send them over to like bits of the empire to check on
To do the
how they're
research,
doing,
like journalists. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Baby makes 9. He's got to be the last addition to the Bernier Doyle Delane household.
Wow.
The
The BDs.
And there's got to be something about that baby, I suppose, which warrants the feature. Not so much a feature, you're right, as a lifestyle choice.
Yep. That's a
Being
real
named
commitment.
after him.
And dare I say it, a very good benefit scare.
Oh, wow. Hadn't even
Money
thought
be
of that.
rolling in.
We can get a new everything. This is where I'm asking for some collaborative input. What is it about this baby that gives him the right to be the "And Baby Makes 9" eponymous feature title hero?
Well, I'm either thinking it has superpowers.
That would be good. Handy.
Yeah.
Depending on what they are. If it's like, I can go invisible, not so much for us.
No.
Because we're all about
how
being
will we-
very visible.
How will we prove he's there when the benefits people come round?
And it's just not very good branding to be invisible. It's why so few people bought Invisible Coke when they were advertising that back in the day, as they may still be doing right now.
Yeah. Here in this flat, I've got it tattooed across my face.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's the only one who's an ethnic minority.
Okay, so then we're playing the card of like diversity.
Yeah.
And saying that we're the diverse.
And it's one of
family.
those very good sitcoms where they have a kind of token character and all of the like white people churlishly kind of learn things.
Yeah. Well, that's representation.
Well, exactly. And that is equality.
And that's what Reith
and that's
wanted.
all it That's all it means.
It should never be more than that.
No.
Oh, I can't maintain that facade for too long.
It takes a toll.
Yeah.
But it also, like, it's mad how easy it is to say those things. Like, being a racist is so easy.
That's why they all love doing it. On
I know.
Twitter, on the world.
All you have to do is say, look, they had one black baby
Yeah.
who didn't get paid in that show.
Like, well, Ross had a black girlfriend. What more do you want?
Yeah, come on.
What a question. Where to start?
There's such an unfathomable list of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
No,
that's a
I
shame.
think that we could do that. Like you say, it's not necessarily one for now, but this isn't a right now project.
No, it's long-term
It's a
thinking.
grow. I like it. My last one is one that's potentially feasible,
Oh, okay.
but it would need a little bit of.
We need 7 righteous child warriors.
No, not yet. Although they could help.
Okay.
If we got those, that would be a lot easier. It would make the feature a lot easier.
Maybe
It's
they could
called,
do the podcast.
It would also require a little bit of patience, potentially,
That's
on
fine.
behalf of the listenership.
Okay.
Okay, and
They've got that.
they've stuck with us thus far.
Yeah.
They went through blocks, proj. They can do this. The feature is called "See You in a Bitcoin."
See you in a Bitcoin. I love the title.
Okay,
It makes me think of Bitcoin, which is a virtual currency.
and you're going to love it because it only goes and involves Bitcoin.
the
Bitcoin.
the digital future, crypto
Basically-
king.
My idea is it's not even so much a feature as it is a new stipulation for the show,
Okay.
which is that we can't record another episode until we've made 1 Bitcoin.
Isn't one Bitcoin like hundreds and isn't it like thousands?
It's thousands of
Hey Google,
dollars.
how much is one Bitcoin worth? We're gonna find out.
BTC is approximately 2,615 British pounds.
£2,600.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have to make it as Bitcoin or can we?
Yeah,
make it-
as one
Right,
Bitcoin.
okay.
We have to say to someone, each week we have to offer a different service. We have to do something different.
Okay, so like I'll
I
dress
say
up
each
as a
week.
maid.
Yeah. But the person, we have to say our charge for
must
this
pay
is
us a
1 Bitcoin.
Wow. okay.
Exactly 1
For
Bitcoin.
one service.
And we have the slogan for this, which is that there's been too much see you in a Bitcoin and not enough see you in a Bitcoin.
So it's about getting paid now for the
rather
work we
than
do today.
just spending money on shit.
Yeah. That's good because that's a kind of Marie Kondo-esque revitalization of our inner selves. We're
Does it
teaching
bring
people.
joy?
Yeah, exactly. We're teaching people to reconnect with what is essential, and that has always been giving us Bitcoin,
Yeah. Well, that's it.
paying us the fat bit, as we say, like on the street.
Give us a 1 thick BTC
Give us a
straight
taste
into
of
the
the good
cyber
bit.
pockets.
Yeah, I love stuff like that, and I love the way you've embraced technology in the future and married that with this old school medium that is podcasting.
And a pun. The
And a
oldest,
pun.
the oldest social medium of all.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So there you have it. 10 excellent features. Each of them as workable as the last.
Each you'll be seeing in the upcoming 10 weeks of the show.
I'll get working on 7 adoptions.
Well, 6 and then a baby.
Oh, yeah,
Of
that's
course.
true. Yeah. Until then, however, we've got a bunch of ways that you out there, yes, you, the listener, can get in touch with the show. Maybe give us some feedback on these features. Maybe come up with one yourself. I think you're a creative bunch.
Well, I've just realised this will be the first episode
Right.
where they'll have heard
What it was going to be about.
at the beginning of our show
Oh, yeah.
a little sting.
That's true. We recorded that. It took us a very long time to get around to doing something that we've been thinking of doing for a while. Turned out to not actually be that difficult to enact.
No, it turns out it was really easy.
And that we were just being lazy, dare I say.
But that's what this, revitalization of the podcast is all about. So you can get in touch via Twitter.
Love it.
The show can be found at That's a Shame Cast. You can find Isaac at IsaacBD.
Yep.
You can find myself at DE Delane. Tweet us if you've ever seen a shit DJ.
Why not?
If you've ever had to fight one.
Go for
Because
it,
he was
guys.
just too insufferable.
And wouldn't play Yeah by Usher.
Email us.
Tass at
shame.city. Or you can find us via the contact form on the website shame.city/contact. There is, of course, the Shame City Discord. Lots of film recs going on in there at the moment.
Lots of Vice chat.
Yes. That is, you can find that at shame.city/discord.
Certainly can.
You can, of course, if you have $1 to spare,
Yep.
give to the Patreon, patreon.com/ShameCity for all of February. I was about to say, I'm so glad that you preempted me there.
That's good.
For all of February, and indeed the end of Jan, because we're not pricks, to the people who very kindly upped their pledges then.
Yep.
We are doing a giveaway, and we're going to be giving away some stickers and buttons.
All of them ordered. Can you believe it?
Paid for.
Designed, created.
They're on their way
Yeah.
to us, and soon to be on their way to you if you should sign up to the Patreon.
Yeah.
In the month of February, the Lord's shortest month,
Yeah.
but not his least significant.
No, not when we're doing
Everyone
stuff like
knows
this.
that that's May.
Who even bothers with it? Honestly.
I'm going to skip it this year. So yeah, get in touch, get on there. There's going to be loads of extra content. We
Yep.
delivered all our quickfire shames for January.
And will for February.
And will for February. February, of course, will be the first month where we have our extra month in shame episode coming out as well.
Exclusive.
So special, exclusive, extra content. You get access to the Patreon lens. And let me
it's
tell
very
you,
good.
there's so much fucking stuff on there that you
It's
need
crazy.
to see.
You really do.
Yes.
Until episode 132 then, with all of these great interventions behind us, ready to be enacted in the future. I've been Isaac, you've been.
I've been Declan.
See you real soon.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.